everyone, my name is Kayla. I'm a Bachelor of Health Science Naturopathy and I'm a naturopath, Kayla Nutri Naturopath. Welcome to my podcast awareness. This month is May and I have Carly and Tammy joining me from Huntington's, Victoria today. Hi, how are you both today?
Hello.
Well, hello, Kayla. Thank you so much for inviting us. We're very good because it's actually a sunny day in Melbourne today, which is very unusual. So I think we're both very good and we're very pleased to meet you. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about Huntington's disease and Huntington's, Victoria.
No worries. Thank you both for joining me. I really appreciate it. Could you tell us about May and why it's so important to the Huntington's disease community?
Absolutely. It actually was initiated in America and then it sort of took up through our colleagues in Canada who started a Light It Up campaign, which was fantastic. So through Canada and then through Europe, cities actually lit up in blue for Huntington's disease and purple for juvenile Huntington's disease. And we actually wanted something we could hold on to in Australia where people could come together to talk about Huntington's, raise awareness, feel less isolated. So we brought that home to Australia and it started in Victoria and it's just grown, Kayla. I can't believe how much it's grown. And Carly, I won't take credit for this year. Carly's been doing all the hard work with some of our community members, ringing around and making sure buildings are lighting up in blue. And we're going to have a come together in Melbourne to sort of talk about Huntington's. People can meet each other for the first time if they want to. And we also do a Go Blue May 22, which, Kayla, when it comes to that day, you are more than welcome to join us. Partners, community members, hospitals and so forth, dress up in blue and acknowledge the community and their value and also talk about Huntington's disease in their workplaces. Or some families might take the opportunity for the first time to talk about Huntington's disease within the family. Did I cover everything, Carly? Did I miss anything?
I think so. And I think in terms of Go Blue May 22 as well, you could be as creative as you want. So we've got community members that do blue makeup, blue hair, blue shoes, anything. Like there's so many options. So be as creative as you want.
Oh, that's so
cool.
cool.
Carly, didn't last year someone dress up their dog in blue? It was fantastic.
It looked great.
Oh, amazing. And is there a reason why blue is the colour?
I wish I knew the answer to that. I don't know. I'm sorry to tell you, Kayla, I'm not sure. I think there's a scientific reason behind why the colour blue was chosen. And as I said, initially, like it's been for most disease groups, they've had awareness for some period of time internationally. Huntington's, unfortunately, hasn't really had that for a long period of time. It's only really been in the 2000s. So it's fairly new. And in Australia, as I said, we introduced it in Victoria not that long ago. So, but blue's a great colour, can I say? It stands out. And as Carly said, you can be really creative. I've had people with blue nail polish, blue hair, blue shoes. I've had babies that have been dressed up. Remember in baby outfits that are blue. So I think what I love is, I suppose, I'm not sure what the reason, I'm sure there's a scientific reason, but I think that the community love it because you can be so creative with it.
Yeah, beautiful. Can you please tell us what Huntington's disease is?
Sure. So for many of your listeners, they probably are familiar with other diseases like multiple sclerosis, motor neurone disease and Parkinson's. And Huntington's disease is within that same family. So it's a progressive neurological condition, but the difference is it's genetic. And unfortunately, it does lead to brain cell death. So if your parent has Huntington's disease, each child has a 50% risk of inheriting that faulty gene, and what that means, what is caused by, is an overproduction of protein, which makes that gene faulty. And it's no one's fault. It is just a genetic abnormality. And the reason that I say it's no one's fault is when I started working with this wonderful community 15 years ago, people lived in such isolation, Kayla, because they thought there was something wrong with them and that people wouldn't understand. So I really pushed the fact that we are all made up of genes and that if they're faulty, it's actually not your fault and we need to find ways that you can live your life because you're entitled to do that.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Is there an age of onset like that most people would get Huntington's disease?
That's a really good question. So if you read the literature, they say the age of onset is between 30 and 55. In my experience, we've worked with people that are in their 20s, and unfortunately, there is a juvenile onset of the disease. It is rare, thank goodness, but what that means is children and adolescents become symptomatic of Huntington's, and it looks very different in juvenile Huntington's as it does in adult onset. And unfortunately, we don't have a cure or any effective treatments at this point in time. However, a great deal of the wonderful research that's happening in Europe and America is actually happening here in Victoria, I'm proud to say. And from when I started 15 years ago now to where I am now, and Carly will absolutely back me up here, we're able to update our website with some real initiatives that people can adopt in terms of brain and gut health, which actually makes them regain or maintain control over their own health when managing this disease.
Right, really important. And so the cause of it isn't known as yet, is that right?
No, it is. So, and I think that's part of the frustration, Kayla. So there was a wonderful researcher called Nancy Wexler who comes from the US, and I had the fortune of meeting her some time ago when we had one of the last World Huntington's Congresses, and it was in Melbourne. And her mother had Huntington's, and no one knew what it was. And so she then researched it and went down to Venezuela and found a village where 99% of the village actually had symptomatic Huntington's. And it was because of her and pulling all these scientists together. They went down there, they researched it and discovered it was genetic. The frustration with that is that was some time ago now, and I think people thought because it was genetic it would be easy to find a cure in some of the recent research trials where they've tried to lower the protein in the faulty Huntington gene. There's been some side effects that were not thought to be an issue or weren't foreseen, is what I should probably say. And so I think the brain's a very complex little organ. And I think our scientists are learning from these clinical trials, and I do believe we will have effective treatments. There will definitely be a cure one day. But at this point in time, I think we're definitely on the right track for some effective treatments for people that are gene positive or are symptomatic of Huntington's. Hold on, because I think they're coming.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And what are some of the symptoms of Huntington's?
So there's three sort of types of symptoms, but I probably want to say for your listeners, not everybody demonstrates or exhibits the same symptoms. And sometimes Carly and I will often deal with people that are concerned that they might exhibit the symptoms of the parent they had who had Huntington's disease, and often that's not the case. So there is the physical symptoms, which is probably the most recognizable, the involuntary movements, which looks very like Parkinson's disease. And not only is they external, so with the arms and the legs and the torso and the head moving uncontrollably, but they can be internal as well. And so then what that leads to is a loss of weight, because it's almost like you're on a treadmill 24/7. And that's probably the most common one, but not everybody will have that symptom, which is almost it's a difficulty in that because it's so recognizable. It's almost when you're applying for government funding and assistance, at least that physical symptoms recognized, whereas the other two, the cognitive and the psychiatric, aren't always as recognizable for those that aren't aware of Huntington's as the physical symptom. So in the old days, the physical symptoms were seen to be Huntington's, whereas the cognitive and the psychiatric were often missed. The cognitive symptoms are very much around your executive functioning, so how you plan, how you absorb information, how you're able to articulate. It's basically how you think, move, and feel is how the symptoms affect you. The difficulty with the cognitive is people are so young, and so then people often misjudge people with those cognitive symptoms to be drug or alcohol affected. as the brain is slowly dying, it's just difficult to absorb the information around you. And if there's too much stimulation and too much going on, it's hard to take in that information, understand it, and then be able to respond to it. And, you take things for granted. Imagine being people our age, though you and Carly are much younger than me, and you're not able to take a shower on your own or make the bed, or even think about you're sitting on the couch and you want to turn the channel, but you can't get the messages through to actually enact that process. And they're young people. So it leads to frustration, as you can imagine. And then you have those psychiatric features, which depression is a very common issue within this community, even before people are symptomatic, because they haven't been given much hope.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about at Huntington's Victoria, and I'm happy to chat about that later. And there can be some, paranoia and so forth, some anger and verbal aggression. It can be physical as well. And again, it's not the person's fault.
Yeah.
It is their brain that is not functioning, that we all take for granted. And then, of course, some of that anger can be frustration about not being able to be independent, to be so reliant on others.
Yeah, that must be hard. My next question would be, what is Huntington's Victoria? If you could tell us that, please.
So we're 50 years old, Kayla, last year. We had a big celebration. We should have invited you, and everyone was in blue, can I tell you? And we did a tribute to Tina Turner, because I'm a huge fan, and she passed away last year. So we had everybody, didn't matter if they were in wheelchairs or upright, they were all on the dance floor doing the nut bush, weren't they, Carly?
Beautiful.
I think Carly and I got pushed out of the dance floor. There was too many people on there. So as you can tell, the Huntington's Victoria community is very they're very resilient, they're very bright, they're very articulate, and they very much want to help each other. And so that gala ball we have, which was always near the end of the year, they're all there. When we had lockdowns, Kayla, during that terrible time for us in the pandemic, the community were upset with me that we couldn't have the ball. And they wanted me to ring Dan Andrews and demand that we were able to have the ball. So just to give you a sense of who they are. So Huntington's Victoria was created 50 years ago by community members.
Oh, beautiful.
And the reason I stress that is the community is very much involved still in what we do and drive how we continue to evolve as an organisation, to make sure, one, we're in that advocacy space, but also we're meeting their needs, which evolve through generations. So a brave group of people, very dedicated, very committed. We had an opportunity to meet some of them during our 50-year celebration. And you can imagine, Kayla, they had nothing to create this organisation, and they came together, and through sweat, hard tears and, luck, they were able to develop. And often they had people in their families who were living with this disease. So they had that added pressure plus this organisation. So this organisation means everything to them and therefore to us. And so over the years, it's developed. And so at this point in time, Huntington's Victoria provides an information and support service, which was always the gateway service to Huntington's. And we've tried to ensure that people can access information in a medium that they're most comfortable with, whether it's on the phone, on the website, chatting with us through chat box. Carly will smile at me on that one. We give them various meetings or our YouTube videos or whatever it might be that's easiest for them to access the information. And then they contact us in their own time when they're ready. We also provide phone support, whether that's emotional support, information, or even advocacy on their behalf if they're finding it difficult to access support, particularly if you're not eligible for NDIS.
Yeah.
And we also partner very closely with the medical professionals in this field, allied health, and our researchers. They're all just wonderful people, can I tell you? And they don't hesitate to allow me to interview them, Kayla, which you can imagine what that's like.
Yeah.
And I interview them and we put what they have to say around information, whether it's the latest research or how to manage your disease. They allow us to share that with the community.
That's really
who
good.
then can share it to others.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, and it's wonderful. And so there is that close working relationship, but also we are extremely fortunate to have a committed group of researchers and professionals. It's not just a job for them. They really are committed to this community and they want the best for them. And then on the flip side of that, we have the Huntington's Community Connect Peer Forum, which has been a labour of love. And I say a labour because we needed to design the forum. And Kayla, you already know from an information technology perspective, that is not my area of expertise. You've already seen that this morning. And through that, people can actually reach out and speak to each other. And they can do that with utmost confidentiality. And through there, we can share information that they can actually advocate for themselves. So rather than having to be relying on others so much, they have the information they need to be able to go to a doctor's clinic appointment and say, no, hang on, this is actually what I want from my time with you, or this is what I need, or be able to reach out and be a bit more determined and backed by information around controlling what they want.
Amazing.
And then we do have support coordination, which is through the NDIS program. And I call that case management and advocacy for our clients, because you're probably aware, Kayla, with your background, that the NDIS is a huge bureaucratic system, and it can be overwhelming, particularly if you're living with a genetic disease, plus you may have other family members living with it at the same time, and then you're dealing with this bureaucracy. That program very much is about making the plans work for the people, but also advocating throughout the system that can be complex.
Yeah.
We also run, which I didn't mention, we have an annual community conference, Kayla, that we run for free for attendees. And other than during COVID, the pandemic, there hasn't been one conference where I haven't had new families introduce themselves to me that I haven't met before, but they've either been on our website or on YouTube, that they've followed over the years. And it comes very much back to that statement I originally made about giving people avenues to make their own choices and reach out when they're ready. But we want people to be independent. We don't want them to be dependent. It'd be great if we didn't have to exist one day, Kayla, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly right. Yeah, it sounds like you got a really beautiful community. You really, care for each other and advocate for each other. And I think that's what the world needs.
Yeah. I agree.
And how can people help? So can they donate, volunteer?
They can do all of the above, can't they, Carly? So they can help by volunteering, and that means working with us, our crazy team. So you've met Carly and I, you can see what we're like. You have to be a chocoholic, otherwise we can't allow you to enter. I'm just letting you know. That's my rule, not the team's. If you're a student, we've had some really passionate, wonderful students. We have 2 at the moment who come in and do really fundamental pieces of work and get to meet the community, which is fantastic. And for them, I feel like it's the way of them making a difference to the community, knowing that their student experience with us hasn't just been a tick box experience, that it's actually meant something and they've developed something that will be valued. So if you're a student, by all means, feel free to reach out. Volunteering is vital. So a number of our community members volunteer in different ways. Some are peer leaders on the forum I discussed before. And what that basically means is they are there to assist people on the forum and to enable them to share experiences and assist them and enable them, really. And they're wonderful. We've had people sit on our events and engagement committee. Isn't that right, Carly? And they keep us. So when you're talking about creativity during May, give them the credit. They're the ones that make it creative. And, people can, if there's a particular area of expertise they're wanting to develop and they think that they could add value to the Huntington's community, they're more than happy. Or if they just want to come and answer a phone, then they're more than welcome to do that. So volunteering we really value. And over the years, we've had some fantastic volunteers and we remember each and every one of them. Donations, of course, are absolutely appreciated. Unfortunately, across the board at the moment around the world, the economy is not fantastic. So your donations, we actually developed, and Carly can jump in here if she wants to on the wall of hope. So I'll tell you why that is, Kayla. So over the years, people have donated to us, and we just wanted to make it meaningful. And so we developed a wall of hope where people can either donate in memory of a loved one or donate for a particular reason. And basically they buy a daffodil, isn't that right?
Dandelion.
A dandelion. I knew I'd get that wrong, Kayla. The dandelion. And Carly can explain the meaning behind that. And so it's not just about donating funds, it's about a meaningful process, if that makes sense. And if you want to run a campaign, and I did one last year, almost killed me. We have a family fun day at Luna Park. I am being dramatic, Kayla, just to let you know. And the guys quite rightly said, Tam, would you launch the Wall of Hope and run a fundraising campaign for the family day? I said, sure. So they said, would you give up chocolate? Because it's my main food group, Kayla. Everybody knows that. I said, sure, why not? And we needed to raise $5,000. Said, I'll do that. Now, week 1, I was okay. Week 2, not so great, not so great. And the guys took a photo of me with orange juice in my hand, and you should have seen the donations flood in. And the community really concerned I might need a defibrillation machine and there might be something going on. So they took pity on me, Kayla, and in 2 weeks we raised the $5,000 due to this wonderful community, can I tell you? And then they all bought me chocolate and took a photo of me hoeing into it and putting it up. But that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be meaningful, that if you're going to run a campaign of some sort, that if people can buy a dandelion to that campaign. And then, you know, the majority of our donations and fundraising go directly into that direct service provision. I'm the only management at Huntington's Victoria. I'm it.
Wow.
Yeah. And in terms of
Go ahead.
In terms of the dandelion as well, we did choose that because it is a symbol of hope, healing, and resilience, which we think, you know, labels our Huntington's disease community perfectly. So
beautiful. That's really lovely. Is there anything you wanted to recap or talk about that we haven't spoken about?
I just hope you go.
Yeah, I would say that in terms of other ways that people can help, as well as we spoke about earlier, we do have May Awareness coming up. So we'll have buildings lit up in blue across May, mostly on May 22nd, which is also Go Blue May 22. So we would be so appreciative if anyone would, you know, take a photo and share any buildings that are lit up in blue, or take a photo dressed up in blue or with their blue makeup. All of the above, send it to us, tag us on Instagram. Our Instagram's at Huntington's Vic, and we'll definitely share it around with the community as well.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that would be great. Sharing awareness. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah, please join us. It is a lot of fun, I promise. Just, I hope the weather's going to hold out this May, because last May it was a bit cold for us, wasn't it, Carly? We kind of had to rug up. We look like blue little Eskimos.
Yeah.
Well, that's
probably the only thing I would say, Kayla, is for your listeners, if you are professionals and haven't worked with someone with the Huntington's community before, or you might be, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If you're working with a community member with Huntington's, we see you as part of our team, so we're really, really happy to help. And if you are from a family that has been impacted by Huntington's, same. As I said, the information service is confidential. You can tell us as little or as much as you want to, and you can contact us as often as you want to. So even if you reach out for the first time and you feel like you haven't covered it, you're allowed to ring us as many times as you like, or email. So I would say to your listeners, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to help.
Yeah, beautiful. I think, yeah, that's right. I think people should reach out if they, like you said, there's no silly questions, and as much help as they need. It's important that they, you know, feel supported and get the support they need. And yeah, definitely. And for further information, should people go to Huntington's Victoria, your website, your Facebook page, Instagram, like you were saying?
Yeah, all of the above. As Tammy mentioned earlier, we're constantly updating our website with new information that we find. So yeah, check it out. Same with our Instagram and Facebook. We're always updating there. So yeah.
And we can join our mailing list too. We launched it last year, but I think this year it's just taken on a life of its own. We have a monthly information and support newsletter that addresses the needs of everyone in the community. So whether you're diagnosed, gene positive, at risk, gene negative, or a carer or loved one, family friend, we try and address the topic from those perspectives. And we also are doing research. So we have a power of sharing your story. So we have different community members for each section that I just mentioned, sharing their stories through the newsletters. And also we're really lucky to have researchers allowing me to interview them, and then we share those stories. So even if you're not ready to reach out via a phone call or an email, as Carly says, website, Facebook, or even just join our mailing list. As I said, everything is confidential, and you're more than welcome.
And like you said, it's good because every person's covered, so it doesn't matter, sort of how Huntington's touching them. It's all covered and they're supported. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I was asked that question, Kayla, when I first started 15 years ago. Why do you not just work with people that are diagnosed? And my answer to that is because it is genetic, it just doesn't impact the person that's diagnosed. It impacts everybody.
Yeah.
And so we are here for the whole community.
Yeah, that's really important. Thank you both for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I've learnt so much, and I'm sure the listeners will have too.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was so
worries.
much
Thank you
fun,
so
Kayla.
much.
We're going to bring you, as probably everyone can see, Kayla's in blue and we're not. So Carly and I are just in disgrace. So, so Kayla, you're more than welcome to join us for Make Awareness.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye.